Okay, guys, today is the 29th of February. Yeah, I guess it's a leap year because there's usually only 28 days in February. Um, whatever, according to this ridiculous calendar and day keeping time management thing that they've got going on, that they've propagandized us into. So it's 88 days, I believe, juicing now. So a few things, I've switched up a few things since my last, it's been a week since my last update. Um, my stomach has not stopped gurgling. It's been gurgling like when I first started juicing. It's been gurgling like crazy. Moving and gurgling and making noises and doing all kinds of stuff in there. So I'm really breaking up this crap inside of me. My bowel movements, I've been having more bowel movements than I have in the last month or so. Uh, I'd say 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 bowel movements a day. Mostly runny, but with some solids in there as well. I've taken a few pictures over the past week because I've moved some weird looking stuff through my body. It doesn't look like the mucoid plaque like you see these people posting all the time of mucoid plaque coming out of them. It doesn't look like that, but it looks really weird, different colors. Again, a few, I'd say 3 different times, it looks like there appears to be worms or, little white specks in there. Like, I guess those would be eggs or some kind of parasite, I would imagine. So I'm really like getting into a deep flush now, deep cleanse. And when I had, I was so my headaches, everything has been slowly, getting better and calmer and easier with time. The headaches, uh, the ear ringing, the head fog, the pervasive tiredness, all of these things have I've been coming out of that cycle of just, ugh. And, so doing a lot better now. Still dealing with food cravings, but they're different now. Different kind of food cravings now. It's really like my food cravings are starting to come down. Yeah, I'll tell you, I noticed a big difference after those 2 days of being really bad off last week. That was like 11, 12 days ago now, when I went through that huge detox that put my ass in bed and I couldn't get out of bed and I was feeling sick. When I did that update, I think it was like day 78 or 79, something like that. I can't remember. 77. But ever since then, my food cravings have become different. It's almost like I am passing these parasites, I am passing these things. And now like the addiction to food is getting even deeper. I'm uncovering like a deeper root cause of the food addiction, which again is for the comfort, which again is for the grasp on this reality, right? On what it means, what we've always, been told it means to be human. Uh, and associating the consumption with reality. Like, it feels like I'm letting go there's a fight. Like I'm letting go, but my subconscious is still trying to hold on to, well, we need to eat and we have to do these things and this is just the way it is. And, so it's like, because I've been aligning thoughts, words, and actions. This is a daily thing for me, is aligning thoughts, words, and actions. And it's like this is becoming real now. And there's like that scared part of me that doesn't want to let go, and it's just recognizing and accepting it and, facing it and dealing with it as it comes. I guess I'd say the hardest part about it is staying in tune and accepting what your subconscious is processing, instead of running away from it or avoiding it or blowing it off and acting like it's nothing. Actually sitting there with it and accepting, well, I'm having this thought for a reason. Not letting these thoughts just race through your mind and then just be like, oh, I'm glad that thought's gone. Whew. Glad I don't have to think about that. Glad that went quickly. It's actually facing these things. It's actually sitting with them. It's actually, realizing how important everything that runs through our heads is, and that they need to be faced. They need to be addressed. We need to be responsible and disciplined. The only reason we've even come to accept racing thoughts is because we're forced into these slavery societies, in these unnatural, non-conducive to human life, to biological life, cultural constructs and ways of living, ways of surviving. And, we weren't meant to do that. We weren't meant to be completely inundated with all of these things all day long. And just, it's like we are constantly on edge, constantly going, constantly, we've got so much going on consciously in the moment, at every moment. And as soon as that moment's over, we got another moment, then another moment, then another moment, and it never ends. And so what's happening is it's information overload. It's overloading our systems, because our subconscious picks up on every single little thing. Our subconscious doesn't miss out on anything. We walk into a room and our subconscious is our brain picks up on every little single detail. But consciously, we might have social anxiety. We might have we might be introverted. We might, just not want to have the focus or the attention on ourselves. So, when we walk into a room, we'll just hyper focus on this one thing with our consciousness and think that's all we're observing. But when in reality, our subconscious is literally, recording everything constantly. And so by, just overloading ourselves and overburdening ourselves with all of these things, constantly, we've adapted to these inhumane ways of living, these unnatural ways of living. And we're like, well, if I can do it, so can you, and we're just disregarding the whole aspect of the toll it's taking on us mentally, psychologically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of these different ways, because we got so much going on that, as these things go by us and we don't address, because what it seems like to me is that we are meant to address everything. Nothing's supposed to be getting by us. Everything is supposed to be addressed and processed completely and dealt with. And then, before the next thing is supposed to come up to us. But instead of it being like that, in the way that these societies are constructed, this enslavement is constructed, it just keeps you on constant overload. So that way you don't have time. And what's happening is we are consenting to all of these things that we know aren't right as a human, but we're doing it through our subconscious and not our consciousness. And we're not consciously consenting to all these things, but we're subconsciously consenting to all of them because we can only deal with one conscious thing at a time. Anyways, I just wanted to touch on that. I have a lot, I want to get out. A lot, I've just been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of introspection, a lot of contemplating on things, and it's really, things are just so simple, but the whole illusion that we live in makes it seem like things are so chaotic, and that's just the way it is. And here, take this dopamine hit, take this, you got to do this to cope, and it's okay. You have your copes, I have mine, we just all cope together. We're a world of coping people. And it's like, man, it's insanity. But back to the fasting update. Okay, or the juicing update. So, last week after my last update, which I think was day 81 update, which was a week ago today, since then I've been having bowel movements. I can feel, so what it felt like was these toxins are like my body was trying to get rid of them, but it felt like it was holding on to the toxins. It was that is exactly what it felt like. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, man, it's almost like, so what I was doing was I was forcing myself to drink more juice because my body was not wanting to drink any more juice. My body just wanted to sleep, period. I wanted to be left alone and to sleep because it was so toxified from that juice breaking all of that stuff back up into my system, and my system wasn't flushing it out properly, and I couldn't figure it out. So that's why I was just like forcing myself to keep drinking more and more juice on those first few days after coming out of that severe detox dump that I had, because I knew that, my body needed the help getting this out, but it was like the juice just wasn't doing it, couldn't do its job, and I couldn't figure out why. Again, I was in a brain fog. My ears were ringing like so high pitched for God, it was almost a week by that time. So it was like impossible to really be able to put it all together and figure it out. But I had somebody get a hold of me, and they sent me a few messages, and I'm just going to read some highlights from it for you guys. Because I want you to have these tools in your toolbox when you go, because see, I'm obviously highly, highly, highly toxic. Okay, before I start reading these messages, the other thing is, for years, I don't even know how many years, but it's been years and years and years, at least 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 years, maybe longer than that, probably since at least when I had my brain injury. I went to live with my brother, and they put me on all those meds, and I committed to the funny farm, and they put me on these highly toxic meds. At least since then, I would say I've had this heavy metal smell that especially I could smell under my armpits. Like, even if I took a shower, it was like within a couple hours, it's like heavy metal smell coming out of me. And I always knew that wasn't right, but I was like, what the fuck do I do? I didn't know anything about this, so I didn't know any steps to take. I wasn't even for sure. Like, I didn't even trust myself even a year ago to say, or a year and a half ago to say, oh yeah, that's definitely heavy metals and we need a detox. You know what I mean? Like, so all of this, I'm literally, you guys are watching me on my journey is what's happening. So I've had this for at least 7, 8 years, I'd say. I've had this heavy metal smell, especially under my armpits. And that smell has been going on I mean, about the same intensity, the smell of it, until that heavy toxin dump last Monday. Today's a Thursday, I think. I think it was last Monday when I had that heavy toxin dump, so like 12, 13 days ago. That next day, after I took like 5 bowel movements, and I mean, I could just feel the toxicity coming out of me. I mean, it was amazing. And that next day, I noticed immediately the heavy toxin smell under my armpits had gone, from, let's say it was here, to like here. And I'm like, wow, that's fucking weird. I'm like, that's pretty amazing. Cause like I didn't even take a shower or anything. It just the smell went from here to here. And I was like, holy shit, man, did I just dump a ton of fucking toxins out of my body? And so now what I go over now, this person sent me some things, and then I'll go over it, and then I'll update you again on that heavy toxin smell, heavy metal smell. So this person sent me this thing, and they said, okay, so now they say they're because I don't want to put any of their information out there, because they're not trying to be seen or heard from. But they're a detox expert of sorts after getting poisoned, basically. Okay, so this person obviously went through a poisoning and had to learn on their own how to detox. And so that's how they started off this conversation with me. Please take binders like zeolite, charcoal, and my favorite, humic and fulvic acid, which is ancient soil minerals and organisms. And what I did that day, or the very next day, is I purchased this. It's Inner Vitality Fulvic Humic Minerals, and it's a 1 gallon, 128 ounces. And what I'm doing, okay, so let me finish this. You may want to take, okay, so the zeolite and the charcoal and the humic and fulvic acids, in case you guys want to write this down. You may want to take Mimosa pudica for parasites. Mimosa, M-I-M-O-S-A, pudica, P-U-D-I-C-A. Mimosa pudica for parasites. Now, this is what hit me. This has really made so much fucking sense, because they say us sensitive and neurodivergent people have a hard time getting chemicals and biotoxins out of us. That makes so much sense to me. And as soon as I read that sentence, I was just like, yep. I was like, that is what's going on. It's because I'm so sensitive. And I would, thinking about this, because I mean, I've been running that around in my contemplating, and I'm like, man, that makes so much fucking sense, because we hold on, right? We are highly traumatized individuals, because we are so sensitive to the abuse and trauma in this world. And especially once you dive head deep into the abyss on this healing journey, and just full acceptance, and just, instead of, constantly being like this, just lay yourself out there and like, come on, I want it. I don't care what it is. I want the truth. I'm ready for it. Anything's better than this fucking illusion and fucking craziness and lunacy and insanity I've been living in. So it's like, okay, and you learn to trust yourself. So, I can, oh man, that really makes so much sense. So if you're sensitive, if you're neurodivergent, if you have these issues, you are probably going to have, like this person said, a harder time getting rid of chemicals and biotoxins. And guys, since I started this, today's my 3rd day of this, and I'm going to finish. I really just got to finish this, because it all ties in together. It is okay to help. So getting back to the neurodivergent and sensitive types holding on, and why? Because like I said, I could feel my body like wanting, like I could feel these things needing to be pushed out of my body, but my body just like, just like holding on. I was like, it was so weird. I would compare it to like another way to picture it would be like, what's that Marvel movie or that superhero movie with the Venom and that black goo, how like it holds on to him and doesn't want to let go. That's how I could like picture that, like that black goo just like holding on to me, when when my body's trying to release these toxins. It felt like that. It was like, why can't I get that separation there, and I think it really has to come back to the fucking mind and how we are. Even though I'm honest and truthful and I put my shit out there and I'm courageous and I'm taking responsibility and I'm being disciplined, like deep down it's like almost like I'm still holding on. Even with this food now, like I said, with these food cravings now, it's a different type of craving. It's not just the food itself. I just, it's so rooted and tied into holding on to what this world is in my programming. And, so it's really like having to become even more honest and really having to dig down deeper because it's scary. It's the unknown. It's letting go of everything. It's coming to terms with the fact that you aren't crazy, that you've been right all along. You just haven't been listening to yourself, and because you've been told not to listen to yourself, because you've been told you're crazy, because you've been told you're wrong, because everything in society goes against what critical thinking, the results of what critical thinking tell you. Everything in society is the complete opposite, so none of it makes sense. So it's like you've become so adapted and just so traumatized by the way we live that I feel like I'm getting so much deeper in the digging to the root of all of these things. I'm still putting in the grunt work. It's just amazing, man. Like, you have to be honest. You have to be fucking honest with yourself, and you have to build this trust. Because if I hadn't been building this trust in myself and been looking to outside saviors and outside sources this whole time for knowledge and for the way to do these things, and not building this trust in myself and proving to myself that I'm worthy and that I trust myself, and I was here now, there's no way I would be able to do it. I would cave. I would be right back in it. I would be eating again. I would be giving up. I would be depressed. I would have some severe emotional issues, mental issues. But the only way I'm getting through this is by just doing this daily work and not cheating, not running away from it, just facing it all and being completely 100% honest about it, and trusting myself that when I come to a conclusion through logical thinking and common sense, that I'm not going back on it. I'm not going to refuse to accept the conclusions I come to through my logical thinking. I'm not, because then that's giving up on, and man, do you want to like, because the conclusions I'm coming to is that, it's a complete detachment from all this, because none of this is natural. And everything I see, in order to get back into the game and play the game in any sort of fashion, means that I have to give up on what it means to be human, what I've come to the conclusion of what it means to be human. I have to completely give up on reality, what I have come to see what truth, fact, and reality is, and I have to jump right back into the illusion, right back into the manipulation. And anyways, so this person said it's okay to help your body detox with herbs and binders, and I think that's definitely true. I mean, especially since we're being inundated not only through the poisons that we voluntarily have consented to putting in our mouths daily for decades, and poison ourselves that way, but just through the chemicals they spray in the skies, the chemicals that are all around us, the fumes, the everything. When you wash your clothes, the chemicals there, everything, the plastics, it's just everything. We have come into contact with all these things, and it sort of goes back to the same thing with how fasting, water fasting, and dry fasting are great. They're perfect. That's where we should be at, but we've been living in such unnatural environments in the societies for so long that have on the daily and the moment by moment been toxifying us in such unnatural ways that in order to assist our bodies in getting rid of this stuff and rehabilitating our natural systems to be able to do these things on their own like they can do when they're not being suppressed and poisoned by us daily, we're going to need that help through herbs and binders and fruits and in the juicing and things like this. And it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. I was 6 months ago, I was like, man, all these idiots out there juicing, what are they going to do if there's no electricity? What are they going to do if there's no more blenders? What are they going to do if all this? But it makes sense. And I think that you could, I know that there is spontaneous healing, spontaneous remission, spontaneous everything from anything that aches and fails this body. But we are not in that position right now. We are still in the position where these things are available to us, and being available to us, we need these crutches to, again, assist our bodies to get back to baseline. We are so out of whack and so fucking far out of center field from natural processes and the natural ways our bodies are meant to defend itself, that we are going to need these helps through juicing, through herbs, binders, this again, this fulvic, humic minerals, the charcoal, the humic, the charcoal, the zeolite, the mimosa pudica for the parasites. I haven't done that. I seem to be passing these parasites. I still haven't even looked into the mimosa pudica yet. And which I probably will do here in the next couple days, look into it. Just because, I mean, really, I'm on 88 days of juicing, and I need to be getting this shit out of me because these detox effects are just horrendous, man. It's terrible. In detox, I mean, guys, detox is headaches, detox is fogginess, detox is nausea, detox is, out of it, detox is ringing in the ears, detox is weakness, is physical pain, is all of these things are emotional swings. All of this is detox symptoms, all of it. Start very small. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. Oh, sure. Yeah. So this person also said start very small. So with this, I'm doing 1 ounce right now a day. I do it in the morning. And I'm probably going to move up in the next day or two. I'll move up to 2 ounces, and I'll probably keep it at that. I'll do 2 ounces, one probably in the day and one probably in the afternoon. And then, that should be good with that. Let's see. I'm going to finish reading these, and then I'll go over. Also, get that lymph flowing to get the toxins out. Dry brushing also works. Sauna, if you have access to one. So I'll read that again. Get the lymph flowing to get the toxins out. Guys, your lymphatic system is your janitor in your body, okay? And it's like a layer that runs underneath your skin that takes all of these toxins. They're like little soldiers and little janitor soldiers that run around, and they're just constantly looking for things to clean out of your body, right? And so this person sent me a link to a YouTube video. Now I have today, right before I made this video, I posted on my community channel on both this channel and my other channel. I posted that link. It's the Lymph magic massage or something, somatic healing or somatic something, with some woman. But I posted the link on my community page, so you guys can find that link. I highly suggest, if you are getting into any kind of juicing, if you are doing any kind of detox, to start incorporating these lymph massages. It only takes a few minutes. I've been doing it 3 or 4 times a day. I've been doing this for the past like 4 days or so, 4 or 5 days. Guys, it makes a world of difference. When I first did it, everything was so tight. I was like, So there's 6 points. One here, under your armpits, right there, right here, and then your pelvic area, and then behind your knees. So, it takes a few minutes, and boy, will you be able to tell a huge difference. So the first time I did it, I was so tight in all of those areas, and I was like, but I did it again. I did it again that same day, and I did it again. By the third time I did it that day, the skin and everything under it had loosened, and I just felt like this relief. Huge difference. And see, okay, so that lymphatic, what happens is it gets, especially if you're heavily toxified, like I obviously am and was, that lymphatic system gets backed up, and because it gets overburdened, and so what it goes, and that makes sense. That all goes back to how my body, it felt like my body was holding on, and I was drinking more juice to try to assist it to get out. But one of the problems was there was a couple different problems. One being I needed some assistance with the flush, and then I needed to get that moving, get that, warmed up, get these areas, flowing, so that way it could work and do its thing, because it got backed up. It's like anything, any kind of piping that gets backed up because it gets overloaded. You got to push that shit through. You got to get it moving again, right? It just makes sense. Your gutters get clogged up in your house. You got to push that shit through, get all that shit cleaned out, so that way the gutters can flow again, right? It's the same concept, guys. It all makes sense. It's from the micro to the macro. That's just how everything works. And so just find your thing that makes sense in your head, that you can picture, to make it make sense. And then you can how this stuff works. And once you watch those videos, I recommend, especially if you're doing a detox, any kind of detox or anything, that you do that every single day. I'm doing it, like I said, 3-4 times a day, and it is making a world of difference. It is I can feel it helping my body. Like before, it felt like my body were just holding on to these toxins. Like it wanted to get rid of the toxins, but it couldn't get rid of the toxins. It's like everything was clean. Like again, like Venom, like that movie Venom, where the black goo just like trying to pull it off, and it's just like and that's what it was like. But now it's like everything's starting to flow out, and flow the way it's meant to flow. And then, so this person addressed the ringing in my ears and said it could be B12 deficiency causing the ringing. Do you juice beets ever? They are high in B12. No, I've been doing the same fucking, when I first started juicing 2 months ago, over 3 months ago now, I put those videos up on here that, and I showed my green juice and my fruit juice. Well, it was like a week after that, 2 weeks after that, I ended up combining the two, and I've just been, combining the two ever since. And that's been pretty much the same combination of everything I've been doing every day. I haven't really switched it up at all. Haven't done anything. So since they sent me this, I have been doing the beets. I've been doing the beets every day for like 4 or 5 days now. I've been doing beets. big difference. I can tell my body just wanted that. I'm still getting the ringing in the ears and everything. It could take a few more days for it to interact. I don't know. Um, as far as vitamin deficiencies and things of that nature go, again, the only reason we're deficient in anything is because we're so highly toxified. Our cells make everything they need. Once you get back to baseline, you don't need any more crutches, any more assistance. Your body doesn't need any more vitamins or minerals or anything. Your body is completely self-containing, self-regulating. The cell is the most amazing thing in the world. But right now, because we're so highly toxic, that B12 can be very important, especially, you hear, if you've ever looked into veganism, which I don't associate with vegans whatsoever. Fuck that shit. But just giving you an idea, like, a lot of carnivores will make fun of vegans and say, oh, you guys think you know everything, but you're so deficient in vitamin B12. You're so thin and look so sickly and have all these problems and da 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 da. And they relate that back to most of it to do with vitamin B12. And, again, that's because these vegans are, participating in these goddamn, the only thing, they're just virtue signaling. They don't eat meat, but they're constantly eating all these highly processed chemical foods and combinations of foods and cooking their foods and making it toxic. So, anyways, that's that. What else is going on with this update? Anything else? Yeah, I'm feeling better. Still sleeping a lot. I am sleeping a whole lot. My body just needs the rest. Again, it's still detoxifying my bowel movements. I'm still having like 3 or so bowel movements a day. And it feels great every time I have bowel movement. I'm like, oh, but it's just it's like my body is so toxified, guys. Oh, and then, okay, so the other thing is, after I added the beets and after I added this, so in the past 3 days, that heavy metal smell on my armpit has gone down again. So it went from here to here after that huge toxic dump last Monday, like 10 days ago or whatever. And then since then, with the beets and that, it's gone down like to here. So, man, yeah, I'm really, really, really getting rid of a ton of toxins and metals and nanochemicals and plastics and everything out of my system. And, again, with all the lymph, moving that lymphatic system and getting that juiced up and oiled up and good to go, it's making a huge difference, guys. If I would have known about this, before, I would have been doing that at the very beginning. Again, I posted those links in my community channels on both pages. And with the beets, I probably would have been doing beets since the beginning, just because I feel so. In what I got rid of, I'm getting rid of grapes and I'm getting rid of oranges, and I'm substituting with the beets now. Oh, and the other thing I added, and not just beets, prior to that, I added cilantro. I do a ton of cilantro too. I cut that up and put that in my juices, because cilantro is good for helping to remove heavy metals and toxins too. So I substituted cilantro and beets for grapes and oranges. Yep. And I probably would have done that since the beginning. Again, this is all a learning experience for me. Do I think I still would have had issues? Yes, because I probably needed this fulvic and humic minerals. Definitely, because like this person said about us neurodivergent and sensitive types, holding on, like it's a lot harder for us to dump these toxins out of our bodies because we're just the clingy type. Even though, you've seen throughout my videos how I talk about I need nothing, I don't need anybody, I don't need anybody's approval, all this stuff. Like I I have to say these things, you know, because I'm aligning thoughts, words, and actions. I'm walking in truth, fact, and reality. And, you know, I'm making this real, and I'm breaking these programs. And one of the ways I do it is by speaking. You know, I'm speaking into existence these things, and as I'm making them happen, and with daily awareness and holding myself accountable and responsible and being disciplined and courageous and honest, I'm I'm constantly able to be aware when new things surface that maybe have been there the whole time, like me still clinging real down deep to these programs and this world and this illusion, and oh, please just tell me everything, tell me that there's a savior going to come, and everything's in peace and love, and everybody's going to be happy, and I'm just, you know, everything's okay, and I don't have to think about this anymore, and I don't have to be uncomfortable. And you know, no, it's not like this. This shit's for real, and you got to man the fuck up. You got to woman the fuck up, and you got to do what you got to do, and you got to face these things, and you have to realize, you know, and be honest. Yeah, I'm still holding on. I'm still craving. I'm still having these issues, and you just the reason that's so important to face is because it helps you get down deeper into the root, and that's the whole thing. We are digging out the root. If you are not getting to the root of it, you are just playing games, plain and simple. So I think that wraps it up for now, guys. Remember, take care of yourselves because nobody else will.